What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for tuning in. It's me, Mikey Pipes. It's Friday, and I love me Fridays. Friday, the 16th of January, 2026. Just got back from 2 weeks of vacation in the U.S. Virgin Islands of St. Thomas with my wife and the rest of the Pipe Doctor family. Well, at least my home family, not the work family. But I'm putting out a little fire this morning, folks. A little fire. About a month ago, I got dispatched to an existing residential client. They have a Weil-McLain Ultra 3 condensing boiler sitting on their basement floor next to an indirect fired water heater. I'm there for annual maintenance, which we haven't done in 3 years. So you know what that means. I got the sword. I have the maintenance kit for that specific model. I got my knee pads. And I got Derek, but most importantly, and this is what I really love doing a lot, I got my phone and I'm recording the service call, recording the content, showing step-by-step how we service this Weil-McLain Ultra 3. Now, during the service call, right from the get-go, I always do a visual inspection. Situational awareness. Is there anything abnormal with the unit? Are there any leaks? Is there any rust? Any smell of gas? Anything abnormal? Because I'm going to document that right away and make the homeowner aware before we do anything. Hey, this is what I noticed. And that's exactly what I did when I saw some water at the bottom of the base of the Weil-McLain Aqua Plus. I believe it's a 65 indirect fired water heater. It's also had some corrosion on some of the inlet piping as well. But I documented with photo, video, and then brought the gentleman down to the basement and say, look, this is what we got going on here. I was like, then also, happened to be a very overcast day that day, and it was a lot of rain. We had like water coming from like another section of the mechanical room from like, and there's no plumbing there. I was like, but there's a cast iron vent stack coming down, or the soil stack, which probably indicative of a leak on the roof. But I said, listen, I don't think this is plumbing, but you may want to have your roof checked out, but I'm going to send you an estimate to replace the water heater. And then we're going to proceed with the maintenance on the boiler. And this is what the costs are for that. Got the approval, got to work. Easy peasy, right? And since that day, which was Friday, January 19th, haven't heard anything from them. We're there to do the service. We sent an estimate to replace the indirect and modernize the piping for said indirect. Until yesterday at 6:21 in the evening. The gentleman texts us in our CRM. We utilize House Call Pro for our dispatching, invoicing, payment receiving, estimates, all that good stuff. It's a great robust system, whether you have a couple trucks on the road or a dozen trucks on the road. It's scalable to any size home service operation, regardless of what trade you're in, doesn't really matter. Chimney sweeping to plumbing. So the gentleman texts the service yesterday at 6:21 in the evening, goes, hey Mike, you came by last month for maintenance on my boiler. I've had a lot of problems since that time. The water tank now leaks a lot more than it did previously. The heat doesn't properly work and we're constantly hearing water sounds through the radiator. So my office manager immediately responds. About 6 minutes later, good evening, I can have Daniel come tomorrow. So we scheduled that service call. Daniel goes there earlier this morning and diagnoses the tank is now getting worse. The indirect tank is worse. It's leaking a lot more water onto the floor, which is then lowering the pressure of the boiler. We're getting air into the system, and then we're causing all that nonsense in the hydronic heating system. We make the customer aware that we can purge the system out, all the zones, and we spend another 45 minutes there doing that. And then she pays the bill with the card on file with her approval. And then she calls an hour later to complain that she shouldn't have to pay for it because we caused the problem. Here's an audio recording of the phone call that we just received.
Good morning. Thank you for calling Pipe Doctor. This is Janine speaking. How may I assist you?
Hi, I just had a house call at my house, and the two men left, and I said, I'm not paying, my husband is going to take care of this because honestly, we should not be charged for this call, and I can explain that, but they charged a card that was on file that's not even my husband's, it's my father's, and I'd like that canceled immediately.
Okay, ma'am. Where are you calling
They
from?
cannot just charge a
Ma'am,
card without my
before
permission.
you think, where are you calling from? I need to
I'm
know.
calling from Woodmere, New York.
Okay, I'm sorry. What happened? They charged the card that's on file.
They told me there was going to be a charge for today, and I said, well, I'm not paying that. My husband will be in touch with you. And they said, well, there's a card on file that we will charge. Now, I didn't give permission for them to charge it, and it's actually not it's my father's card.
Okay,
And
I'm
within,
gonna place you on a brief hold. Let me get my superior to speak with you, okay?
sure.
Thank you.
I said I'm not paying. They
Thank
said
you
there's
for
a card
calling
on
the
file.
Pipe Doctor
It
Plumbing,
is.
Heating, and
Yes,
Air
I
Conditioning. A representative will be with you in just a moment.
only can accept that. So, I told Pipe Doctor.
We know you didn't call us to be put on hold, but we're currently providing other customers with outstanding customer service. Please continue to hold.
Hi, this is Daniel with Pipe Doctor.
Hi, are you the one that was just at my house?
Yes.
Okay. I did not give you permission to charge the card. I said my husband would call and speak to you.
You never stated that your husband was going to call and speak to me.
Yes, I did. Excuse me. I absolutely said I'm not paying. My husband will reach out. And you said we have a card on file and walked out, and that's not even my card. That's my father's card.
Okay.
Please don't charge cards without permission.
Okay, so then is there a card that we could charge that to? A different
You
one?
can speak to my husband about this visit that is absolutely unacceptable. To
Okay.
charge us for coming back 2 weeks later after you screwed up our system and charge us for this call is absolutely unacceptable. And you know that.
So
We had no issues with our heat. We
we
had a standard tune-up checkup. We didn't have any problems. You came, or I don't know who came to my house, and all of a sudden things start going crazy. That's not okay.
we
But that's
just
a whole other story.
okay.
Don't charge for today's visit when you came to fix whatever you screwed up.
Would you like to speak with Mike, the boss?
I'd like my husband to speak to Mike.
Okay.
Please cancel the charge that you made on my car, on my father's card without permission.
Okay. I'll have
Thank
him
you.
speak with your husband.
You can have him speak to my husband. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Bye.
To be a fly on the wall, folks. But nonetheless, my team is instructed to write and word the service receipt, the invoice. Therefore, a third party, should they be reading this, can understand what transpired. And what Daniel wrote was, customer concerned, water heater leak has gotten worse and has heard a lot of swooshing in the heating lines. Confirmed indirect is leaking worse. Estimate has already been sent for replacement. Waiting longer increases the risk of the tank completely blowing out and flooding basement. Tank needs to be replaced. Nothing done during the maintenance accelerated the issue. Leaks get worse with time. Heating loops do have air present. Isolated each zone, and there are many of them, and spent approximately 30 minutes purging until air was removed. There's a super vent, 1.25 inches, which is no longer letting air pass out and needs to be rebuilt. With water present, With the leak present, water is able to get out of the system, which means air is able to get into the system, and the swooshing will likely reoccur until the tank is replaced and air separator is rebuilt. Discuss this all with homeowner, and everything is operational at this time. But then is the phone call after the fact, the buyer's remorse. Like, why am I being charged for this, right? I get it, but it is what it is. But after reviewing the service invoice, refamiliar myself with the initial service call from the 19th of December, and listening to the audio recording of the call with quote unquote, I'm going to call it buyer's remorse, just keeping it real. I'm transparent. If that doesn't work for you, great. Your mileage may vary, but we're transparent here. So I composed an email to the homeowner, which states this: Dear Mr. ABC, and I'm protecting the customer's privacy, not disclosing their name. I'm following up regarding your recent text message and today's service call. Several weeks ago, during your scheduled annual maintenance on your Weil-McLain Ultra condensing boiler, we identified and documented a failing indirect water heater. At the time, we discussed this condition at length on site with an older gentleman present, whom I understand to be your father-in-law. The condition of the water heater, along with other unrelated water leaks observed in the home, was documented with photos, video, and written notes, and an estimate for replacement was provided to you. It is also important to clarify that the annual maintenance service we performed is strictly fireside service only. This includes combustion-related components of the boiler and does not involve any work on the water side of the system, including the indirect water heater, domestic water piping, or associated valves. No components related to the leaking tank were touched, adjusted, or altered during that visit. Yesterday, you contacted us stating that since that visit, you have experienced increased leakage from the water tank, improper heating operation, and audible water sounds in the radiators. This is a month later. You've had the leak, which is getting worse. Now you have a month later, but it's been since we were there. Okay, improper heating operation and audible water sounds. Yes, you're going to get more air into the system as you have an active water leak on your hydronic system. As requested, we returned today to inspect these concerns, and during that visit, we again verified that the indirect water heater leak has worsened and that the ongoing leak is allowing air to enter the hydronic heating system, directly contributing to the symptoms you described. No work performed during the maintenance visit caused this condition. Rather, it is consistent with a progressive failure of an already documented leaking tank. Before proceeding today, the service charge was clearly explained to your wife and approved. I've since been informed that there is a belief that we caused this leak and that payment should not be required. I'm sorry you feel that way. Right? We need to take a step back and we've explained our position, what's going on. Now let's put ourselves in their position that, yes, I'm sorry you feel this way. I apologize. However, I must be very clear. The leak was pre-existing and documented. The boiler service maintenance was only fireside and no water side work was performed. The conditions and risks were discussed in detail during the prior visit, and the service charge was approved prior to today's work. Now, this is where we throw in our insurance policy, right? Much like law enforcement, we utilize body camera footage to accurately document our service calls, conversations, and site conditions for everyone's protection. I have everything. If you like, I can perform the unedited video footage of the original maintenance visit showing the discussion and documentation of the failing water heater with your father-in-law. Right, we're putting our cards on the table. Here's my policy. Okay, I'm here to help. I'm not here to be, argumentative here. I'm here to state the facts, understand your concerns, and follow up with how we can proceed. So please let me know a good time to discuss the estimate to replace the failed indirect water heater so we can help you resolve this issue properly and prevent further damage to your heating system. Regards, and then my signature on the bottom, which looks like this. See? Perfect. You know what? Puts a face to the words. All of our stuff is right there. Transparent. And always don't forget the little disclosure at the bottom that this is only intended for the recipient, specified in the message. So, my comment and question to the audience: how would you have handled that? Any different than I just did? Let me get your thoughts and feedback in the comment section down below. Happy Friday, or whatever day you're watching this, morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, the best way you can support this channel is by smashing that thumbs up button. Let me get your thoughts and feedback in the comment section down below. Subscribe. There's no cost or obligation. It's free, folks. It's free. Hit that little subscribe button and hit that notification bell to get post notifications when I drop a video, which is generally 6 to 7 days a week for the last, I don't know, feels like 10 years. It's been about that long, guys. Thank you for your support. Be well. God bless. Stay safe.